Hello and welcome to another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. On each episode, we take a look at a movie that is featured on Disney+. On this episode, we are taking a look at a Disney animated sequel as we take a look at The Jungle Book 2. Also, stay tuned for our bonus story as we take a look into the former Journey into the Jungle Book live stage show at Disney's Animal Kingdom. And if you are enjoying these videos, I do ask that you please hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified with each new video. But for now, sit back and enjoy this episode of Disney Movie Investigation. So like I said, today we're covering The Jungle Book 2. This movie was released on February 14th, 2003. It was directed by Steven Trenberth. It was written by Carl Gurus and Evan Stepanopoulos. And the production companies were Disney Toon Studios, and it was distributed by Buena Vista Distribution. The budget for this movie was $20 million, and it did a box office return of $135.7 million. In terms of the production history, ideas for the Jungle Book sequel began in the early 90s with a script written by Bob Hillenberg and Rob Muir. The original pitch for the story was actually presented that Baloo would be rescuing his love interest from a poacher. This idea was never followed up upon past the script stage, but because of a legal dispute, the character of King Louie was actually not able to be included in any Jungle Book sequel, and this was because of a legal dispute with the estate of Louis Prima. In terms of the movie that we got, this was a part of the Disney sequel era where they were looking at reestablishing characters from yesteryear. And a bit of trivia for this one is Smash Mouth was actually hired to write an updated version of I Wanna Be Like You in the film. So in terms of the vocal cast, we have John Goodman, who does the voice of Baloo. Haley Joe Osment does the voice of Mowgli. Mae Whitman does the voice of Shanti. Bob Joles does the voice of Bagheera. Tony Jay does the voice of Shere Khan. Phil Collins does the voice of Lucky. Jim Cummings provides dual roles of Kaa and Colonel Hati. And Jess Harnell does the voice of the buzzards Dizzy and Ziggy. In terms of the plot, Mowgli feels out of place in his new home despite the efforts of his friend Shanti and his little brother. So when Baloo arrives for a visit, the man cub takes the opportunity to return for some fun in the jungle. However, Shanti, believing her friend was taken, follows them. With Shere Khan still on the hunt for him, Mowgli must protect himself and the ones he cares about from the dangers ahead. The new adventure makes him reconsider his decisions and decide what he wants more, a life of laid-back hilarity with Baloo in the jungle, or a simpler existence in the man village with Shanti. So in terms of some trivia, so this movie obviously did very well in terms of budget. Like it made 3 or 4 times its budget back. So there was talks actually about a Jungle Book 3. In 2003, Disney announced that a third Jungle Book movie was being developed. And the story that was being pitched would have Baloo and Shere Khan being kidnapped and sold to a Russian circus. And Mowgli, Bagheera, and Shanti would journey to save them. And this film, unfortunately, never got out of development mode. And then, obviously, since then, we've had the live-action retelling of The Jungle Book. So in terms of recommending this movie, unfortunately, this is one of those sequels that Disney fans tend to hate. This movie tends to downplay the original characters and make the movie for little kids, as opposed to the general audience, which is what the original Jungle Book was intended for. The songs and the characters are very generic, and often the characters will appear silly and not kind of be shown any kind of characterization that needs to be taken seriously. The one good thing of the movie that I did like was the animation of Mowgli. So as part of the story, as we recapped earlier, there is an internal struggle of whether he wants to go back to the man village or whether he wants to go into the jungle. And there's a lot of subtle looks, and you could tell the kind of internal struggle on his face. So it's really well done. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all in terms of the positive for this movie. It is one of those, it almost feels like a TV special type thing, as it kind of misses the point of the original, of what made the original good. So overall, if you have young kids, this is definitely one that I would recommend for them, as it is kind of a good way to introduce the characters without the seriousness and the scariness maybe of the original. But in terms of Disney fans, this is one I would definitely skip, especially if you like the original Jungle Book. So let's move into our bonus story as we take a look at Journey into the Jungle Book. So this was a live stage show that was featured part of Disney's Animal Kingdom as one of its opening day attractions. To give you some perspective, the show actually took place in the Theater in the Wild in the Dinoland USA section of the park. This show would last 1 year before it was retooled and rethemed to become a stage show called Tarzan Rocks. So in terms of the show is a retelling of the story of the original movie through live action actors. The performances are a mixture of musical numbers, puppetry, tumbling performances with a trampoline, and different stage sequences. The musical numbers that they choose to perform in the show are Colonel Hades' March, The Bare Necessities, and I Want to Be Like You. The show is available in its entirety on YouTube via fan cam footage. The show is very colorful and features dynamic performances. The show does seem a little bit rushed as they're trying to get an hour and a half, kind of 90-minute movie into a 35-minute musical. This is kind of step one of the process with Animal Kingdom. They would develop further shows such as Tarzan Rocks, and then they would kind of get a mastery of it when they did Finding Nemo the musical. So like I said, it is available to watch entirety of its on YouTube, but I can see why this show closed within 1 year. So thank you so much for joining us here on Disney Movie Investigation. I would invite anyone to please leave a comment on what they think of The Jungle Book 2. Also, if you were one of the few people to see Journey into the Jungle Book at Disney's Animal Kingdom, I would love to hear what you thought of it from a live audience member perspective. So as we look forward to our next episode, we are going to be exploring climate change as we take a look at the documentary Before the Flood. And we have another bonus story for this one as well, as we take a look at Blizzard Beach Water Park in Disney World in Orlando, Florida. So until next time, I hope you have a magical day, and we will see you real soon.